All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you how to set up an entire brand new Quicken file. Let's start from just downloading it, and you'll get this menu that says Start from Scratch. So that means we're not going to import anything we've ever done before. And then when we've done that, we're going to click on Next, and then it'll ask you the following questions. Let's use Quicken Web right here, and go ahead and you could provide a nickname. Let's just say Peter's Finances. That's totally up to you. Could say Peter's Real Estate. Now the next thing you have to do is start adding accounts, and this will prompt you to do it. There's a gigantic list of banks in here. Wells Fargo, let's start with that one. You can see how many there are, and you just click Wells Fargo Bank, for example, and you can always go back and change it. But then once it gives you this menu, Quicken Connect, you have your choice. Some banks charge a fee for some of these services, depending on which they are. Some do, some don't. But Quicken Connect is the automatic and easiest one. If you get irritated and you don't want to spend the monthly fee, you can go down to Web Connect. It's a little bit more cumbersome. Fees generally range from $5 to Bank of the West charges $15 a month. Another conversation. You can decide what you want to do there, but those really what those issues are. All you have to do is put in your username and your password, and then you'll be able to see the accounts that are there. In this case, I happen to have 5 different accounts at Wells Fargo. And the thing that's most important here is it will either ignore or it will download the transactions. And you have to make the decision to add or ignore those. Now you might go, why? Because in this case, I have a property in here and a partnership and then a personal account, and I only want to track in this particular account of Quicken, I just want to track my Wells Fargo personal checking account. And so I just add that, as you can see it there, and now it will bring across just that account, and it will do an automatic sync and bring in all of your transactions. In this case, it went back to the beginning of 2019, and it automatically brought all of the transactions in, which is really, really just easy. One of the reasons I absolutely love the download function, because you don't have to do any manual entry. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is let's figure out categories, and this is really where we want to do. So you go to the window menu and drop down categories, and it'll show you all the categories that are preloaded in Quicken, and there are a bunch of them. But in this case, let's add a new category, and let's call it real estate. As soon as you've created the category, it's an expense. You can click tax related if you want, or you don't have to. I don't use it, but you could if you wanted. And I save it. And now you have a new category called real estate. But here's where the magic happens. We're going to create subcategories that match your Schedule C to the best you can. Now, somebody's already asked me, I don't have a Schedule C set up. Are there ones that you prefer? And it really just look at your pattern of spending. For example, I'm going to do one called advertising, and then everything I spend that is around advertising, different vendors, I'm going to categorize it in that category. Let's add another one here, for example, and let's call it education. So all the things I go to for my CE can be put in there. You'll note that before you create a subcategory, you have to highlight real estate, otherwise it won't do it. So now I'm going to add another category, somewhat arbitrarily, but let's say you want to do your automobile in there, your gas, your repairs, your oil changes. You could do that as well. You could track it right here. That would be easy from the hard expenses, depending on what you're doing. Now, as soon as you've add those categories, they're ready to be, you can apply them to the transactions. But in this case, because I've already downloaded in the past, categories have been applied to the existing transactions in here. You can, of course, go back and modify them at any time to suit the accuracy. But let me just show you what you could do here if you had to manually enter a transaction. So I'm going to click on New Transaction. Let's say I wrote a check in this case, and it could be a credit card or a funds transfer or debit, but in this case it's check 1432, and I added a payee errands, sign and banner services. And you'll see then it says uncategorized. And now I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my whole menu of categories, and I'm going to click on real estate advertising. And now, voila, it's put in here. Here's what's great. Next time it sees errand signs and banners, it will automatically choose real estate advertising. And now we've got this, you have to put in the amount, of course. And when you hit return, now it's in here. But here's where it gets great. At the end of the year, you go and you do a report. And you can do it for quarterly, you can do it monthly, annually. And as soon as you hit that report menu, go and do a category summary. Perfect. And it shows you all the money in. And by the way, this comes from all your accounts. And in this case, if you use some checks, some credit cards, different credit card companies, all of them would aggregate right in here by transaction and give you the total. And then at the end of the year, all you have to do is do this, and guess what? Your taxes are already done. Oh, is that just amazing or what? So, like I said, Quicken Deluxe 2019, download it, and hopefully this helped you.